What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video. And in this one, we are continuing the draft prospect profile breakdowns for the New England Patriots complete 2023 NFL draft class. Like always, if you guys are interested in hearing about every single prospect that the Patriots have drafted, there's an each individual video for all of those guys. I'll be doing this in order from the first guy they drafted to the last guy they drafted. And then later on, I'll break down UDFAs also. And I'll be making a playlist on my channel for all of the Patriots draft picks in order so that you can easily follow along also. But without further ado, we got a new prospect that the Patriots have drafted here, a new player rather. The New England Patriots are trading up into the fourth round with in-division rival New York Jets, not to select a defensive player, but it's also not to select an offensive player. This is a kicker. The Patriots are trading up into the fourth round to select a kicker. We all thought sixth, seventh, maybe a UDFA, maybe trade into the fifth because that's their special team spot, but they are going up into the fifth or the fourth. The last time they did this was for Stephen Gostkowski years ago. So there's a lot riding on this guy, let me tell you. But Chad Ryland, kicker out of Maryland, the New England Patriots are drafting in the fourth round with the 112th overall pick. In terms of this deal, the Patriots got the 112th overall pick and the Jets got 120 and 184th overall. Now, a bit of a surprising move, but at the same time, a kicker did go top 100. Very surprising. None of us expected, but a kicker went top 100, and I think that started to scare the Patriots a little bit of saying, man, look, if we're going to get our guy, we need to make sure we solidify getting our guy. Now, the weird thing about Chad Ryland is that he was a projected third best kicker in this draft. The first projected kicker was the 99th overall pick. But again, I think the Patriots could have got him later, but at the same time, Patriots need help at kicker tremendously, and they want to make sure they get their guy. So let's hop into this breakdown. You guys know with each and every single video, we got to roll that Patriots couple intro, so let's do that. Now, one thing that I think Patriots fans especially are going to like about Chad Ryland is this quote he had after being drafted by the Patriots in terms of how he feels about kicking in cold weather, kicking outside versus a dome rather. And this is exactly why the Patriots drafted him. He said, and I quote, "Cold weather, it's obviously not the most ideal conditions to kick a football. Not a lot of people want to kick in that, but I do. I'm a cold weather guy. I like the cold. I like the wind. For me, it's that challenge of bring it on." Now, hopefully this isn't another Justin Rohrwasser situation for the Patriots where they draft a kicker fairly high and then it turns out into nothing within less than a year. But I think that this one does have some real potential, some real possibilities. And obviously the Patriots think so too, trading up in the fourth to make sure that they solidify him. Now, to break this down, PFF overall thinks that this is a below average grade. I don't necessarily agree with a below average grade. Their kind of thought process behind this is that, again, this was the third best kicker, the third projected kicker to go off the boards. He earned a 89 overall kicking grade in each of his last two seasons. And they don't think that giving him a below average grade is anything that has to do with his talent, but it's because of where the Patriots drafted him and the fact that they traded up, gave up extra draft capital in order to actually get him overall. Now, not a whole lot of information on this guy, so this might be a little bit of a shorter video. So I want to talk kind of about the outlook more with Nick Folk and maybe the situation there, but 6 foot, 183 pounds. PFF's big board had him at 342. So a guy that wasn't actually going to end up getting drafted, but once he kind of reached that fifth round, you never know with teams who need a kicker, and kicker is one of those positions where teams are starting to value more and more. We're seeing kickers more and more actually have trade value and trade potential. But this is also a guy that has duties kicking off, not just, kicking field goals, but actually kicking off. And this is something we haven't seen since Stephen Gostkowski, right? Because the Patriots don't have Nick Folk kicking off. They've had their punters always kicking off since Stephen Gostkowski. This is a guy who could potentially take over if they do not want Bryce Behringer, who is the other guy they drafted at punter, to actually do that. He's also a guy that has some duties when it comes to holding, placement holding for the ball when it comes to kicking, which doesn't really matter, but that's always some good depth there to have. The other thing that I really like about this pick is that, like I said, Patriots drafted Bryce Behringer. What I think is really important is the placeholder for the kicker. That's extremely important, guys. The chemistry between those guys is so underrated, right? We talked about how bad Nick Folk was down the stretch last year. And to me, I say, how much of it was Nick Folk and how much was it the fact that he was dealing with multiple different punters last year, having to get that chemistry down, because kickers like it to be held in a certain position, held on a certain length, this, far back, this far forward, this far to the side. It's very specific on how the football comes off the leg and how it drifts through the wind, ultimately either going in the pylons or going outside of the pylon. So that's very important. And Bryce Behringer and Ryland actually already have that chemistry. They worked together, and you actually might have seen the Patriots post this on their Instagram, but they actually worked together during the Senior Bowl. So there already is chemistry between those guys, which is going to be important because those guys are going to be working together for the Patriots this upcoming season. So that's something I already like, Patriots getting that chemistry down. And kind of having something that shouldn't be a big factor in terms of placement, holding, and chemistry between those guys by the start of the season. Something you'll really like about this guy is that he has 5 years of kicking experience in college. He made 60% of his career field goals, and a lot of those tries were from 50 yards or more. There's actually a video of him this offseason training hitting from 59 yards. Decent hang time when it comes to kickoffs too, something that with Bryce Behringer is a little bit more concerning with his hang time. So we actually could see Ryland be your kickoff specialist for the foreseeable future. Also, he also is what's said to create instant lift with end over end kicks. So take that as you will. Some weaknesses for him is that he is a little bit inconsistent, and that's where the concern comes in, right? Is this going to be your next Nick Folk, Stephen Gostkowski, or is it going to be the guy that we had from Michigan come in as a UDFA and show us promise, but then be extremely inconsistent, whose name is escaping me, but he also didn't last long, so it doesn't really matter. His placement from the hash was also a little bit below average, and he made about 5 out of 9 field goals during a 4-game stretch last season. So missing 4 total field goals during the stretch in 4 games. A little bit of a concern there, but that just goes back to what I said in terms of his ability to be consistent. And that's going to be the biggest thing. The Patriots don't care how far you can kick. The Patriots want consistency. They don't care if you can only kick from the 45. You can do it 5 out of 5 times versus, hey, I can kick from the 59 and give you that now and then, but you're gonna get some missed kicks now and then. Patriots don't like that. They want the consistency. They want to know they can rely on you, and they're gonna go with the guy that they know they can rely on, whether that's an aging Nick Folk or a guy you just traded up in the 4th round to acquire. So that is something to look out for. He also did make about 97.5 of his overall kicks while creating touchbacks on 51 of 73 of his kickoffs, which was 69.9% during the 2021 to 2022 season. In terms of what I think this is going to bring for the Patriots, you had to create some competition, right? Kicker was a big need. I'm just surprised they went kicker and punter. I didn't necessarily think that they were going to. But of course, Belichick values special teams more than anyone, so probably should have seen that coming here. Nick Folk is aging. Nick Folk down the stretch this past year did not do good. We know that he can't do kickoffs. We know that he's dealt with injuries and had to get surgeries over the last couple of years. And we also know that he can't kick from far. When it comes to 50 or more yards, that's not a guy you really want having to come onto the field for you. And I think we've seen that with the Patriots, knowing that he's not going to kick from far, which has caused the Patriots to have to punt a lot more of the time, with Stephen Gostkowski in the building when he was here, the Patriots were able to have him on the field kicking from the 55 and were comfortable and confident that he was going to put points up for them on the board, right? That gave them the potential, if the offense wasn't producing very well, to at least put up 3 points on the board and not have to punt off and give the team back the ball. So ultimately, I think that this has a lot of potential. It's just going to come down to the consistencies for me. If he can't be consistent, he's not going to get the job. I don't think that he's going to be a guy that loses the job in year one if he does show inconsistencies. But as a 4th-round pick, you are hoping that this is your kicker going forward. And again, as a 4th-round pick, you got to think the Patriots see something in him and are confident that they can fix out those inconsistencies, because this guy brings the leg, he brings the versatility, and he brings the ability to give you big plays. So what are your guys' thoughts on this one? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video. Of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I appreciate you guys for watching as always, and never forget, go Pats.